In the very recent past, I created a video about the Shendrones Squirt, or the Cinewhoop. And this video kind of took the micro cine quad room area, whatever, by storm, and I'm super pumped that it did. I think that there's a lot of power in these tiny little drones that can film in places that other drones couldn't, and I was super pumped to see the reception in the community. We even started a Facebook group called Cinewhoopers, which if you haven't joined yet, you absolutely should. I'll put a link below. And we've been kind of creating building this community around the idea of taking really small drones, putting HD cameras on them, and filming shots that couldn't otherwise be had. Now, I explained all of the reasons why I love the Cinewhoop in that video, but so the point of this video is actually to kind of just show a couple differences between the V1 and V2 Shendrone Squirt, which has recently come out. So what I'm going to do is show you my V1. I'm going to tear it apart. I'm going to put it all my guts into a Shendrones Squirt V2 so that you can kind of see the process. So I hope that's interesting. I hope that's exciting. And let's get to it. So this is my Squirt V2. You can see that I've already, this one's already built. This is one that I've been using for a while to film, and it's held up great. Like, literally, I have not had any problems except for maybe this getting a little bit loose, but that's okay, and it could be solved by me just gluing it down onto that standoff. We'll talk about a bunch of the differences in a little bit, but this is the guy. Now, compare that to the V1, which is right here. This is the Squirt V1. It's got a longer body, but the footprint is roughly the same. So like if you compare these two, they're just about the same size, just we have a skinnier body on the V1, a little bit smaller, a little bit of weight savings, and then there's these cross struts here. These things kind of help support it and also give the duct a better mounting point. Now, in my opinion, the V2 actually flies a lot better. I have worked really hard to try to quantify why this thing flies better, and I cannot for the life of me figure it out. My guess is that because the ducts are mounted in more spots, so there's actually 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different points where the ducts are mounted to the frame, that it's kept more rigid, and it's allowing the precision of the props to be a little bit tighter to the edge of the duct, and that's making it fly a little bit better. So what we're going to do today is take this V1 apart, build a V2, and slap all of these parts inside of it. So I'm going to go ahead and set this aside, and we'll pull out the new V2. So you've got the single body chassis, which is right here. Nothing really exciting about that, except now we're adding these cross braces. There's a little bit more thickness right on the ends here. That's going to be really useful. Still 20 by 20 and 30 by 30 mounting points, and then again just a skinnier body. And then so you have a lot of standoffs. That's one thing that's a little bit interesting about this. And I'm going to go ahead and dual lock this as I go, which I normally am not super picky about dual lock, but in the case of this Squirt, it really helps keep everything together. And like, I don't usually have to tear this apart and rebuild it because I don't crash it a lot, and when I do crash, it's not a big crash. So I like to just dual or Loctite everything, make sure it's all held together, holds together well. So we're gonna go ahead and do that along with the build. Okay, now with all the standoffs in, we can go ahead and set this, I guess, to the side, and we'll pull apart the old V1 so that we can move everything over. Okay, with the flight controller standoffs in, all I've done is I've just used a nylock nut to secure these standoffs, these full metal standoffs to the bottom. This comes with the Hobbywing G2 stack. And then I'm going to now place the ESC and the stack and everything on top of that and build it out from there. I like to build my Squirt with the stack sideways, so you can see that the cap here is coming out the side rather than struck out the back, and then the ribbon cable comes over here. That requires a little bit of of modification in the software in post, but I think it helps run the motor wires to a much more desirable location. So that's just the way I do that. It might not work for you, but that definitely is the way that I like to do it. Alright, so now we can pull out the ducts. And the beauty of the ducts is that they just slide on over top of everything else that's on here, and it's just so satisfying. It looks like I'm going to have to sand down the ends of these props just a little bit, but that is just fine because we want this tolerance to be as tight as possible. So even with this, like I only have to bring a couple millimeters off of the end of each of these, which is just exactly where I want it to be. So that's great. So there you have it. I don't know if that really did a great job of like breaking down the differences between the two, but you know, I hope that shows you at least, you know, what you're getting into if you get a second one, if you get a Squirt V2. You know, again, I think that this thing flies 1,000 times better. I can't really figure out why. Like even when we first put them together, like with the prototype versions, me and Armando were both like, "What? Why are these flying so well? I don't understand." But you know what? We're not complaining. We were super pumped to see them performing even better. I think it comes down to that tolerance issue. It's about getting everything as close to perfect as you can. But you know, I'm still in love with this thing. I fly it as often as I possibly can, and I hope that, you know, seeing kind of how I've got this set up, how I've got this built, has been inspiring and useful to you. And in the meantime, stay flying.